following program is sponsored by Michael W. Smith. The views expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Phoenix, this is Brother Mike. I'm back on the radio. Welcome to HardcoreChristianity.com. Thank you for tuning in to the program today. Canceling cops. Our Bible study for today. Hey, will you call somebody and tell them the radio program's on? Some really bad things are happening in our country and need your prayer and your attention. This is time for me to make a couple of announcements while you make that call. This is Brother Mike. I am the professional counselor at the Arizona Deliverance Center, Central Phoenix. We're on 15th Avenue, just south of Osborne Road, downtown. HardcoreChristianity.com is the website. And if you go there, you'll see that we have 2 live services every week, starting at 7 o'clock, preaching, teaching, healing, and deliverance at both services. We never did shut down for COVID, and have not had any problems, significant problems with COVID. I saw through that hoax from day one, clear back in March when we got the information from the governor wanting all the churches to close down and the restaurants and the whole deal. I saw through that immediately and never paid the thing any never mind. That's the way I approached it, and that's the way I still approach it, and the Holy Spirit protected us, period. That service, both those services, are broadcast live on youtube.com/houseofhealingaz or on my Facebook page, Michael W. Smith. Not the singer. The singer guy stole my name. I had it first. When you go to the website, please sign up for one of our free seminars. Check out the radio archives on the website. Please hit the PayPal button and send us another donation as you have for the last 19 years. Thank you. We've been on the radio that long here in Maricopa County. Don't forget about sending your referrals to list your house for sale to Sister Karen. She's on the homepage of the website. Loves working with born-again Christian. Canceling cops. That is the result of the George Floyd death in Minneapolis. Nationwide riots in the blue states, primarily. The destruction of the downtown areas of many major cities, most in the blue states. And as I'm speaking to you right now, crime, robbery, carjackings, assaults, murder rates are dramatically up in the major cities in the United States, particularly in the states run by Democrats and the cities run by Democrats. Why? Because they're trying to cancel police officers. The entire country, blue states only, are trying to become like California. Satan has completely taken over California, as you can imagine. For example, did you see this article about canceling cops? Quote, a new bill introduced by California State Assembly member Ash Kalra in San Jose would prohibit police officers from serving if they have used arbitrarily defined hate speech or affiliated with a hate group. The bill, known as the California Law Enforcement Accountability Reform Act, or CLEAR for short, CLEAR, claims to combat the infiltration of extremists in our law enforcement agencies and would mandate a background check for all officers who have exchanged racist and homophobic messages. The bill defines hate speech as advocating or supporting the denial of constitutional rights of, or the genocide of, or violence towards any group of persons based on race, ethnicity, nationality, religion, gender, disability, and here's where they've got you, gender identity and sexual orientation. They threw that in, and guess what? They're going to eliminate Christians, true Christians, from serving as police officers in California. They didn't bother to explain how this would affect police officers who were Muslims, because mosques and Islam routinely teaches against homosexuality. Number 2, in several states, they are trying to get rid of what they call qualified immunity. Qualified immunity is a law that allows police officers to do their job in intense situations and allows them to make a mistake. And if they do make a mistake, they cannot be sued. Qualified immunity is a process where the police officers are exempt from civil litigation in certain circumstances, and they allow lawsuits only when an individual's clearly established statutory or constitutional rights have been violated. In other words, if a police officer commits a crime, they are not covered by qualified immunity. If they deprive someone of their constitutional rights, they are not covered by qualified immunity. For example, the George Floyd trial currently in progress is an illustration of waiving qualified immunity. There's evidence that police officer may have murdered George Floyd. I say evidence of it because he may not have murdered him. There were other circumstances involved in it, which I don't want to bother wasting my radio time getting involved in. But the point simply being, if you remove qualified immunity for police officers, there is no way that anyone would want to serve as a police officer. Because as soon as you make one mistake, even if you're not a racist, even if you're not trying to hurt people, if you screw something up, you can be sued and you can be financially eviscerated or end up in prison. The major concern is that people are not going to want to serve as a police officer because you're required to make life and death decisions, and you must make quick decisions in dangerous situations. And nobody's perfect, so if you make a mistake and you have no immunity, that's going to wipe out every police force in the United States. They're not going to be able to survive. It's absolutely amazing. They're trying to cancel the cops nationwide, and the result of that is a complete idiot could have seen this coming. And of course they didn't. Crime, carjackings, murders, shootings, particularly in the blue states and in the major blue cities, are at record levels. For example, Minneapolis, that started this whole thing, crime is at record levels in Minneapolis. And the people in Minneapolis are begging city council to hire more police officers, and they agreed to allocate almost $7 million to hire a giant batch of cops to replace the ones who were disabled by PTSD during the riots and the ones who filed for retirement, and the other ones who just simply quit to get out of that place. If you had half a brain, who in the world wouldn't quit? One cop does something completely asinine, and they blame all the cops for it. And as you can imagine, the people were quitting, taking early retirement, or filing for workers' compensation coverage from PTSD. And so the people were suffering from a dramatic increase in crime, particularly in the minority neighborhoods, the low-income areas, the middle-class areas, they're the ones, of course, that always suffer because the wealthy people live in gated communities with plenty of security and plenty of guns. They can protect themselves, whereas the middle class and the lower class cannot. Nobody cares about them. $6.4 million is going to recruit cops in Minneapolis because they lost 200 police officers. You imagine that? Incredible. They're also expecting, after this trial, if this police officer gets off or is only guilty of a lesser charge, they are expecting riots again to destroy the city. In 2020, Minneapolis had 817 cops on the payroll. Now they've only got 638. Imagine that. 155 of them went out on workers' comp because they sustained an injury, physical disability, or PTSD. Can you believe that? Violent crimes just in Minneapolis alone soared 21%. The murder rates in 57 police precincts in the United States up 37%. 37%. Can you believe that? Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Madison, Wisconsin, Chula Vista, California, Seattle, Washington. The crime rates up over 70% in these cities. Madison, Wisconsin, 400%. What's happening? They're going to strip Christians from serving as police officers. Friends, and when that happens, the Civil War is going to hit us. They're trying to get rid of Christian police officers who follow the Bible and believe in biblical teachings because it's being classified as hate speech. And in our society, we're not near the end of the road, friend. You can see the end up ahead of us. The rapture and the tribulation are very close now. And we need to make major changes in our Christian life.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program was sponsored by Michael W. Smith.